time it is. That's right. Welcome here to Rivals Assemble, a Marvel Rivals podcast. I am your host, Mark Turcott, and I'm so glad each and every one of you are tuning in here for episode 3 as the road to launch continues. And oh my goodness, guys, we have some fantastic things to talk about this week, from the roadmap to the Wakanda map to new skins, everything. We're here to break it all down for you and get you up to date. To do it all with me this week, first up, Matt Clark. Matt, what's up, dude?
What is up, Mark? There is so much Rivals goodness to go over that it is just spilling out of the multiverse. I'm so stoked to talk about it.
Yeah, man. I think everybody's been clamoring for that roadmap and to finally have it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
I didn't know if it was going to be a big official drop like this, so...
Yeah. And also here to break it down with us, Neil. Neil, what's up, dude?
Hey, Mark. Hey, everybody. You feel that? You feel it in your heart? It's like anticipation for Christmas. It's coming. It's getting realer by the day.
I mean, we're what, now less than 3 weeks, I think, for the game. And I got to be honest, like, seeing the roadmap now, I think, kind of made it more real, I guess is the right way to say. I mean, we've had so much. We've had the game in our hands twice now. And we've been getting these new hero reveals. We've been getting these skins and everything. But to now get, like, specific details, day one, here's what you're getting, is just awesome. I think to have that. So
yeah, going to be single for the holidays, but we'll have Rivals. So, I mean, it's just as good, right?
Yeah.
33 characters to spend time with.
Well, let's quick little housekeeping here, boys. Let's don't forget, you can always follow us on Twitter at Rivals Assemble. If you're watching live here, we're actually recording this live on a Saturday morning. Definitely because the roadmap we knew was going to come out Friday night. Had nothing to do with we totally lost the first version of episode 3. That had nothing to do with this. But we do usually record on Thursday night. So if you want to be here live, you can follow us over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Rivals Assemble Pod. And of course, you can catch the replay of it over on YouTube at youtube.com/Rivals Assemble Pod. And if you want to be a part of the show, which we have an email later on in the show, you can email us, rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com, or, of course, hit us up on Twitter and leave your questions and topics there as well. So let's just jump into this, guys. We have so much to talk about with our news segment that we call Not So Daily Bugle News.
J. Jonah Jameson here.
All right. Well, as promised here, let's jump in here and start talking about this roadmap. So this was released on Friday night. And immediately the Rivals Assemble community just started going bananas over all the details. So we're going to try to go through some of this and let you know what was given in the video, which, by the way, go watch the video. I mean, you need to. We got introduced to one of the devs over from the Rivals teams, Guan. And this guy just did an incredible job, I think, going through all these details. He not only just seems very intense, and here are the details. Like, he comes out and he just tells you, this is what is going to be in the game. What do you guys think of Guan, having him kind of be the face for us, conveying everything to the community?
I think it tells me that it is like it's people who love the game. I think people who are intense about the game. I mean, there's also there's a cultural thing, with language barriers and stuff like that too. But so zero focused in on the details. Yes, probably reading off a teleprompter as well, but I don't know, just it reassures me going forward that it's people who love the IP at least, and good stuff.
Well, I mean, and I love too, like, he hit literally on any and every question that I would have. From things of just like, here are the number of heroes. We're getting 33 heroes, which, by the way, was confirmed in the creator chat to be on day one. I was talking to Neil before we got going here, and I was a little iffy on whether they would all be there day one or was it going to be kind of this trickle out in this season 0. But no, day one, all 33 heroes, which we still have, 6 unrevealed heroes as of today that we don't know that are going to be there on day one. So that we have to look forward to here in the next 3 weeks. But then to things just as simple as, we're going to have 60 ping servers. Like, that's...
Whoa.
I mean, that's not something you really hear a lot when it comes to, these competitive games coming out a lot of times. You don't get that. You just get like, hey, if this was any other Marvel game, it'd be like, hey, here's the Marvel hero shooter, and we're just going to put it out, and everybody's going to love it because it's Marvel. No, this guy's like, here's what we're doing. Season 0, here's the heroes, here's the number of maps, here's the ping, here's the server selection, here's all the servers, here's all the languages, that you're going to have voiceovers from day one. Like, everything was in there. Neil, what do you think of this video overall, man?
I think it was great. I really hope we get to see Guang Guang going forward. They have a good little setup there for his background with the logo and some screens going. He's gonna get back to the game, do some more testing right after he's done his chat here. I think it all sounds very exciting. We'll break it down here, but yeah, it's, as I said, it's getting real. They're laying out exactly what their timelines are, and I know they call it a roadmap, but usually that comes with a single page PDF with a timeline, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if
for real.
Got one of those, but this is great.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe Guan Guan's superpower is that he, rather than just be a PDF roadmap, he embodies the roadmap.
There you go.
And he gives us that information. Like, that's just, I love that. Like, I love this guy. He is just awesome.
I like the energy of the video because it's giving very much like, so in news, we use this type of backdrop for reporters. It's like your newsroom shot. So it's like, we're in the lab right now cooking. Yeah. Like, you see those computers behind me? That's where the people are playing the games, and we're creating this here, when it's like, no, this is the studio, guys. Yeah. All the cooking is taking place in the office with no windows, where people are, eating hot Cheetos and drinking too many energy drinks.
Yeah.
This guy looks like he has a lot of space in there. Like, no.
I would love to see just like a cut to like J. Jonah Jameson just like sitting across from Guan Guan, and just like Guan Guan just spilling out all the information to him, and like Jameson just sitting there. Like, that would be great. Awesome. Give me that, internet. Do your thing, please. I just want every one of these videos just to be Jameson just like listening to Guan Guan, just lecture him on the roadmap for season 0. But let's jump into this. So day 1. December 6th, we're getting season 0, which he does mention is going to be much shorter than the usual seasons. We did get confirmation that seasons will generally be about 3 months. I think moving forward, he does mention that in there. But for just day 1, season 0, it's going to go until, January. And then come January, then we'll get the regular season, and season 1, and that'll really be the indicator of how seasons are going to be moving forward. Each season, he did say we'll have new heroes, new maps, new modes. But to be there from day 1 in season 0, here is what we're getting. We're going to get what's called Doom's Rise. And this is essentially, we're going to start getting the story of Rivals kind of trickled out. And we're going to get the details of the chaos that was caused by Dr. Doom's time experiments unleashing the time stream entanglement, which results in 4 new chronoverses. And he names them all here. So we have the Techno Dystopia of 2099, the present timeline, which is Evil Strikes, the Mosaic timeline, which is the unstable space-time, and then the collapsing timeline, where he says even the gods die. How do you think those things are going to play out within Rivals, Neil? Like, how do you think this is going to go?
I think it's just a place for different maps to be, and then maybe you'd have different versions of maps, right? So you can use the same settings, but this is what it's like in 2099. This is what it's like when gods are dying all over the place. And then it's maybe similar to season variants in other maps, right? Like you get the Christmas map, you get the Halloween map, but
the gods dying map.
Yeah. I think that's wild, having 4 different things to play off of for the story content, that's for sure, and then seeing how that ties into how the game plays too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out, like, Matt, what do you think of this like chronoverse? Is this going to be like 4 different versions of each map, or are just the maps themselves going to be like, hey, here's the Tokyo 2099 map, which obviously takes place in the Techno Dystopia of 2099,
right?
Like, is that how we're going to be?
Maybe that's a great question. For a second, I thought it might be the different modes. And so it's like all of the like quick match would be Techno Dystopia, and then maybe the comp stuff is the present or something like that. But I don't think that they'd wall it off like that. Yeah. So I guess we've only seen really like one of these. Maybe the new Wakanda map applies to like the Mosaic timeline. Not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost maybe put that in present because that's kind of a. I mean, I'm not up on Black Panther today, but the intergalactic empire of
Right.
Wakanda is within the last 4 or 5 years, kind of in the books. So that's somewhat
Correct.
present in terms of the Marvel timeline or the 616, if you want to say. But it makes me almost wonder is like every season, and I don't see any maps going away in season one, but if as the story progresses, is the overarching story going to be like, okay, well, we stopped Doom from doing whatever with the Mosaic timeline, so the maps that take place there go away, and then we get a new timeline that comes in, and then maybe season 5 or 6, whatever it is, the Mosaic timeline comes back, and that's a way for them to not only mess with the meta of the heroes themselves and the team ups and all that they're looking to do, but it also messes with just the meta of the map rotation, right? You don't know what maps you're going to get every season, and that kind of keeps the game fresh because then people not only will be excited to see the new maps from the new Chronoverse that's introduced that season, but then also be excited because, oh, remember that Chronoverse? I love that map from, season 2 or whatever. And then you jump back in, you're playing on that.
So you think they're going to go like full Fortnite and just like control alt delete stuff?
I mean, to some extent, I get people that don't like that, but in the same sense, that keeps a game fresh. Like I'm thinking of a game like Destiny. So there's like raids and strikes that are there, and I'm not saying that I enjoyed the content vault of Destiny, but I liked it when they made old content relevant again. So when they took a raid that at one point when it came out was huge and then everybody got overpowered and it meant nothing, but then when they reintroduce it years later and say, okay, we're back up, we've increased the power level of that, it's relevant again and people are running it and they added some new twists to it, people get excited about that, and there's that nostalgia for it there. And so I almost wonder if this would be a perfect way to do not only that with old maps, but also a new way to introduce new maps. And then, of course, then that just carries through the whole storyline of this timeline entanglement, and Doom is messing with everything, and the heroes are trying to shut down these different Chronoverses and preserve their timeline, and they're all just being tossed around to all the different ones.
You could have it where it's kind of like Apex, where it's just that rotating map, because I'm not super into Apex. I watch more than I play. But that's the thing. It's like, depending on the day of the week, you're playing at different locations.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so that could kind of be like, you don't really have control over which of these chronoverses that you're being thrown into. It's just whatever day you play.
Yeah.
Monday and Thursday, you'll be playing in Shin Shibuya.
Huh. I think they shouldn't be taking stuff away, obviously, until they have a good map pool. But having the opportunity to take some maps away, then you're going to see the new maps more often during that season, right? So I think once they do get a lot going, then that makes sense. But I would like to see. I just want to play the game, really.
I just want to play the game.
Just give it to me.
Then we can see.
I don't care what's there. Just give it to me.
Yeah.
Well, so he did confirm 8 maps for launch. We got some quick match and competitive will be there as well. There's conquest maps. What was it? Was Domination one of the names, or was it just, I think, Conquest?
That's a great question.
So we were trying to kind of formulate what these maps were. We know we have the Tokyo 2099 map. We have the Eagsguard map. We have the Wakanda Burn-In map. Now, there's speculation as to the different parts of those maps. Are those considered part of that map pool? Personally, I'm going to say no. I don't think they are. And that reason being is that I know from the content that we've been provided with, let's say, that there's only, I think, 3 map videos that we've been given. We've not been given the Wakanda one yet, and each one is kind of its own separate one with the walkthrough. And when you watch the IGN first video, it's, hey, here's the Wakanda Burn-In map. Here's the stellar spaceport of it. Here's the Imperial Institute of Science, and here's the Falls. So I think there's maps we just haven't seen yet.
That's a lot to do in 3 weeks.
And
all those characters.
What are those maps? And I'm just want to preface too by saying I don't know. We've not been provided what those maps are. I don't know what they are. But just knowing what they have given us is things we've seen, and they're like that IGN video where it's like, okay, this is the 3 parts of this map. And I mean, just the fact there's still 6 heroes that we don't know about.
It's crazy.
That's wild.
And then they're dropping us these skins every day.
Yeah. So
Why you gotta pick it up?
there's a lot coming. And I mean, he even mentions there's a new practice range as well. So, I mean, we had a practice range in the alpha and the beta. So they're going to give us another practice range. Like, are they totally revamping it? And it's just going to be a new version of what we have? Or are we still going to have what they had in there? And then this other one, like, or maybe that other one was just a beta alpha range and they're just adding a whole new thing in there. I don't know. He does also go on to mention, like we said, Season 1 will start early in January 2025. And the Battle Pass that will be in Season 1 will be priced accordingly, he does say. So it will not cost as much as a typical Battle Pass. It says it'll have half the content. There'll be, costumes in there related to the MCU, original Rivals content, or some of the skins in that'll be available during that season, which I think we've gotten a glimpse. I mean, we kind of talked about it, I think, before as we were seeing these Guardians 3 costumes roll
Marvel
out.
Studios,
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That will be, I'm sure, what will be either in that pass or available as a pack, because he does mention there will be like skin packs available. So
in the store, yeah,
I could see.
I'd like one pack of skin, please.
But he does, and again, the monetization. So speaking of the Battle Pass, again, that content's going to be there. There is no pay to win. He makes it a point to say that. A lot of times with games like this that are going to be competitive, that's always a big concern. I don't really know how this game could be pay to win, other than if they were still choosing to do not all the heroes unlocked for people, and then throw in the team ups. So, if I could buy a hero and then use a team up, and you didn't buy the hero, so you couldn't use them, and then you didn't have the availability to use that team up, I could see that being perceived that way. But the good thing is all heroes are free. Everything he's saying is like they're committed to that. He's saying, again, all the right things that someone making a competitive game in today's like monetization landscape of video games, this is what we want to be hearing. This is everything that any concern that people would have. This is what you want to be said about it.
I think you have to if you're Marvel, right? Like, you can't come out poop in the bed on... Because ultimately, they're trying to set themselves up as one of the tentpole free-to-play shooters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you're going up against Overwatch, you're going up against Fortnite, you're going up against Apex, you're going up against, to some degree, Destiny, things like that. And so I would be not scared. I'd be more anxious if they weren't this prepared.
Yeah.
It seems like all those games have gone away from the get some free gold and unlock a hero kind of thing. I don't know if League still does that, but I remember that happened with League of Legends, and then Heroes of the Storm. I played that. I still don't have all the heroes unlocked. But I won't have new ones to get. I guess that number's not going up. But,
just a little bit.
But yeah, I think it's a good point to make those not behind paywalls and then tied to your account. And then I feel like it's a lot easier for them to, set when you're setting up tournaments and stuff, when people are playing on different computers, right? You don't need to worry about, what skins do I have unlocked? Maybe they just unlock everything for everybody. But
what I'm interested to see if I'm able. So during the alpha, it was PC only. So I did alpha on my PC. During the beta, I got a code for PlayStation. So I had to it created a new account bound to my PlayStation profile. So my alpha exclusives are on PC. My beta exclusives are on PlayStation. And I had to bind my Discord to both accounts.
Right.
So I wonder at launch, am I going to be able to log in with either, or is it some kind of like wombo combo?
Yeah,
or
I think last time we heard anything about that, I think they said there was not going to be cross progression. That was something they were looking at. But I mean, I'm in the same boat too, man. I mean, I have the white Scarlet Witch skin on PC, and then I have the cyan blue Venom on my console.
Yeah,
but the accounts aren't the same. So
Yeah.
I do hope that they could get that fixed. I mean, I do plan to play on PC, especially now. I mean, I just got a new PC, so like that's my plan. But then does that mean I just have to make that decision of like, well, I'm not going to have the Cyan Blue Venom, and it's gone. Even though I took part in that and got to play that, I just didn't play the beta on my PC to unlock that.
Yeah.
And I mean, because
I think eventually
wasn't good.
Yeah, eventually they should be doing that. That seems pretty standard.
Yeah.
With other games, if they want to play with the big boys, they got to have that. They've already got cross play, which is I think a more important one.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
Cross progression is just nice to have.
Yeah.
For
I mean, the good thing is
things.
we haven't spent a dime yet on this. So in terms of the cross progression, it's fine. Like, oh no, I'm not going to get the Cyan Blue Venom skin, but I almost guarantee there's probably going to be a better Venom skin I want to purchase than that blue Venom skin. I mean, I guess it's one of those things to say, hey, I was there for the beta. I played in the beta and, whatever. Like, I'm kind of beyond that now. Like, I would rather just like have the sick ass skin that I can buy.
You're not a clout chaser? Come on, dude.
Oh, I was there as I'm getting murdered, in the back. I'm sorry, I'm getting KO'd by somebody in the back.
Excuse me. I was here for the closed alpha, sir. Watch your tone.
What do you guys think? He does mention, these seasons going 3 months. We're getting new heroes and maps. Assuming there's at least 2, maybe 3 heroes a season. I mean, I think we talked about this on the last episode, but a cadence of, let's just say 10 to 12 heroes a year. Is that good or is that too much?
I feel that they're coming out the gate hot. I almost think that a season should be longer, like give us 4-month seasons, and then I wouldn't have come out the gate saying, X amount of heroes per season or whatever, just because you never know if you're able to deliver on that. Because if they've already rolled all this out and they said they're already working on like the next year of content ahead, then that means realistically, if they're promising 3, was that a hard number? 3 heroes?
No. So he just said, each season will have heroes, new heroes, and maps, and team ups, and even new modes.
And so that could be any combination of a few. So it's like this season we get a new hero. The next season we get just a whole slew of new cosmetics, things like that. So that makes me feel a little bit better. But I still think, I don't know, the need to come out the gate with first year, 4 seasons, let's go. That's strong. I appreciate the confidence. And if they can deliver, I'm here for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing is, there's so many of these live service games now that you have to give people a reason to just keep coming back and keep playing.
In. Yeah.
And that's the
that's
way
very
to do
true.
it. And especially an IP like Marvel, these characters are people have such nostalgia for these characters. So
and it's a bottomless well, really.
Yeah. I think that's too much. I agree, Matt. They could make them a bit longer, especially if they have. He didn't say any details on this, but how Battle Pass works. I assume it's going to be, hey, finish it within this season, or if you don't, then you just threw away some money.
That's a good point too. Yeah, they didn't mention that. Yeah,
I like the way that I think it was Halo or whatever games.
Halo Infinite does that.
I think. Over. Yeah, Helldivers 2 did it too. It was like different packs and just finish them on your own time, but we're releasing a new one if you want that too. I think that's a nice player-friendly way to do it. That way you're not being forced to like, okay, I got a week left. I got to grind hard this week, or I've just thrown away all my money, right?
Yeah.
So that, and then giving the characters room to breathe. Even if they're adding new characters in season 1, I don't think they need to. 33 characters, like I'm not going to be able to play and learn them all in a month.
For clarification, Neil is the person who it's like, who do I want to play? Okay, well, what did you do in Overwatch? It was like, I need to play 3 games with every character to see who I like to be experienced. So I'm interested to know what the Battle Pass will look like level-wise, because Overwatch, it's 80 levels for main awards and then up to 200 for extended titles, right?
Yep.
And then in Fortnite, it's 100 for varied prizes, but the season lengths are different. So with about a 3-month season, what do you feel like would be an adequate level cap?
I mean, I think the level cap to me, all that really gives is like that's the number of items they need to give away. I mean, what really matters is how fast can I progress through that? Like, what are my options? Is it just doing daily challenges, or does every match
Right.
give X amount? Because there was. I mean, Neil mentioned Halo Infinite. That was kind of the problem they had from the get go, was people weren't progressing through those passes quick enough. And so that was a lot of the complaint. Like, you would play a match in Halo Infinite at launch, and you got literally no progression, no progress.
Jeez.
And that didn't work. You know, you have to like, just let me play and I should be making progress.
Yeah.
And it took them a while to get to that fine thing of like, okay, well, we have the challenges. Plus, every time you play a match, you get this amount of credit. And so that's really what I'm interested to see, because I don't know about you guys, like if you've ever gotten like Battle Pass anxiety, but like sometimes, you know, you buy a battle pass and then I literally sit down and I'm like, okay, well, if I play X amount of games and I'm going to complete this, or even before I buy it, I'm thinking that in my head, like, is it worth me buying this? Like, I want that skin at the very end, or, you know, at level 70. I mean, this happens in Overwatch all the time. And it's like, I need to make sure I'm going to play through so I can get those things. I mean, a game like Overwatch, I play enough that I get it. I always end up getting there when I buy the battle pass, but that's my only concern, is that I don't want this to not be completable or right on the edge. I don't want day 87 of the season that I'm finally getting to that last skin, you know, like they got to at least make it somewhat a doable thing for your average player.
That's because Overwatch does the thing. If you get the premium battle pass, it's 20 level skips, right? And then they do Twitch drops all the time. I'm interested to see if Rivals subscribes to like Twitch drops or things like that. Because there was a big push to watch the Rival stream, watch the creator streams to get codes for the alpha and beta. So I think that would be a really smart model.
I'll say probably I'm absolutely sure they're going to do that. Like, that's just kind of the thing in this day and age with games like this. They're more than definitely going to do that.
It's acceptable because other people do it, so why not do it, right?
And I mean, the big push for this game with, I mean, he mentioned that we didn't even really say too much about this. Competitive is going to be there, right? I mean, this is from
T0.
Now, the only thing I do know, and I did see this, I believe, over in the creator chat, it does still need to be unlocked. So it's not like day one, your very first match, you're in the competitive pool. No, like you still have to, and this was in both the alpha and the beta, you had to be level 10 or whatever it is. I mean, there was no confirmation as to what level you need to be.
I like that.
But they want people to get in, get a feel for the game before you get into the competitive queue, which I think is right. I mean, I think
keep the chumps out of comp. Come on. Yeah. God.
And then
so annoying.
This kind of hurts my soul a little bit, but there's going to be no roll queue, friends, on this. So, and as of right now, from what I was kind of hearing, it's like at all. Like there's no like even intent to eventually introduce a roll queue, which is, you know, we can say, personally, I always think, especially in a competitive playlist, I want to say I think it should be there. But in the same sense, I could see the argument of like, well, if you're in the competitive queue, you should be working with your team, correct, and make sure that you should know the team ups. You should know what roles should be played or characters should be played on certain maps. So like, I do get that as well. So that's kind of, I don't know. I see both sides of it.
I think it allows, especially having been playing a lot of Overwatch Classic this weekend, it allows for more creative team building, if that makes sense. So like, if you have someone who's a very good, what do we have? Duelist, we have support, and then Vanguard, correct?
Yep.
Right.
If you have someone who is just popping off as a Vanguard, then maybe you can get away with that. And instead you have 3 duelists and 2 support. Or maybe you tick down to 1 support because you've got a great Rocket or Luna Snow on your team, and you just add another duelist in, and you're just raising the map.
Yeah.
So I think it allows for more creativity, but like you said, the more experienced players will gravitate to that model of 2-2-2 as a base.
I mean, maybe, but maybe not. Like you said, if you have a tank that's just popping off, or whatever, one season a tank is just tuned right with a team up that they just can be that one tank for the team. You can have an extra, duelist in there.
Is Hella a duelist, or is Hella a Vanguard?
Pretty sure she's a duelist, right?
Okay.
Little sniper, right?
Yep.
I think this is kind of letting the community and even the pro teams, when they start popping up, help decide if there was going to be a role queue, whether they would stick 2-2-2, if that makes sense for this game.
Yeah.
Right. I want to see the pro teams. Are we going to have a tournament where they're not matched up? Right. One goes 3 duelists, one goes 2, kind of thing. And that's
Ooh.
kind of exciting, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's you decide on that makeup before the match. It's like, okay, for this,
and you're locked in.
for this specific, or maybe that's like arms of competitive, where it's like you have the 2-2-2 wing, and then you have like the sandbox wing, where it's like no rules, every match can be different. Because I could appreciate wanting to stick to that classic model, but then I could also see people wanting a break from that, and this being the game to give them that opportunity to play a little bit more.
Yeah. Couple little other nuggets in there. I mean, I mentioned the 60 server tick rate that he mentions, and there will be actually a server node selection, so players can pick depending on the ping that you want to kind of get the best experience, which is fantastic that they're adding that in there. And then also the full voiceover cast will be English, Chinese, and Japanese, and then there will be tech support for 16 languages at launch. So it wouldn't surprise me, and I think other games have done this, other live service games, where as the game goes, or as the just progression of the game happens, they start releasing more voiceover packs. So
Totally.
we just get these 3 here at launch. It's all the time they had to do, but I could see as we move forward, we'll start getting more languages in there too, which is awesome. I mean, they're making this a true global game from launch, which is fantastic. So
I'm interested to see how fast they add Korean, because especially with NetEase and this style of marble game, that's often a huge market, and especially in gaming nowadays, with, I know, definitely Overwatch, and that being reinforced reading the Blizzard book about how much work they did with Korea, how fast that specific pack comes.
Yeah. So go watch the video, and Guan Guan did an awesome job. And anytime he wants to release a video like this, I'll take it. You want to pull one out today again? That's fine. Show us all the maps. I'm perfect. You can pop it right in there.
Just do a get ready with me, Guan Guan. Let's
yes.
go.
The IGN team continued with their IGN first, and they actually put out an article this week, as well as a map walkthrough for the Wakanda Burn-In T'Challa map. So let's talk about that map first here. And we got the video up on the stream of this. We say it all the time, but the art team for Marvel Rivals is just incredible. This map, I think, really shows just how much creativity and also how much attention to detail they have. Because we get this walkthrough of Black Panther walking through this intergalactic Empire of Wakanda map. And all the little pieces of things. I mean, we have Shuri's bedroom, we have a spaceport, we have just the monuments and the statues and everything that are just littered around here are just, they just look so good. And I really hope that at some point, and it may be there at launch, we have the ability to do this as well. Because Guan Guan didn't mention custom matches, did he? I don't think he did.
No.
He mentioned the different modes. I'm sure that will come.
Yeah, I hope they give us the ability to do exactly what we see in this video, where we can go through, take our time, take it all in, look at all the little Easter eggs the team has put in there, because there's a lot that they did, and I don't want it all to just get passed by.
Destroyed.
Yeah,
or destroyed, right?
We're just destroying everything as we kind of run through this.
It'll get rebuilt. Come on.
That's true. What do you guys, what do you think of this map?
It's a sexy map. I've been trying to think of a word to summarize it. It is just a sexy map. The colors, the breadth of what's the word? Of just locations that are enveloped in it. The city, space, the falls. It's so expansive. I bet it was so fun to work on. I just looking at this game, I just feel that the developers and any team got involved, that they just had the time of their lives. Hopefully,
yeah.
Especially look at these vistas that he's got. Just Black Panther looking over, his city and all the spaceport going on there. The beautiful skybox with the Black Panther face.
Is that a Halo ring, Neil, that we see kind
Yeah,
of going
it
off
could
in the
be.
distance?
Could be.
Hey, I have over here a hardcover graphic novel book published by Marvel that has Master Chief on the cover of it. So I'm just saying.
I mean, we are looking at T'Challa's butt. I mean, canonical Halo.
Yes.
So
Yeah, we've got 6 more characters. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe Master Chief is one of them.
We'll see who that is. Also seeing like the space side of this, I'm not too familiar with the Wakanda lore, but it makes me want to learn more about this area with all these little things we're seeing in here. And,
yeah.
The space side of it, the Warrior Falls, like that first Black Panther movie, going through what that means to them and duels over the falls and picking Jeff, eating the team and throwing them over the falls. It's going to be great.
Yeah. No, dude, if I'm Hulk, I'm going to just be smashing Jeff, and then I wish I could toss him over the falls.
Please.
Yes.
New team up ability.
No, I do love Jeff. I love Jeff. I love, too, she mentions the woman who's narrating this over at IGN, the lore of this map. It mentions that they're trying to find a way to create a time machine. And so I guess now, after seeing the roadmap, the story here is they're trying to find a way to, I guess, maybe either go to these other chronoverses that have been created or go within the time of their actual chronoverse that they're stuck in and find a way to fix whatever has been broken, which makes me think, Matt, we mentioned, is this in the present time? I would probably say it is, because they probably are trying to, like, at this point in the game, the chronoverses have been created, right? So they need to find a way to go back in time to stop Doom from creating those chronoverses. And so here, that's what they're doing on this in this intergalactic Wakandan Empire, is trying to find a way to go back and make sure that they don't get created. Now, that brings into question, okay, well, if you go back and you stop these chronoverses from being created, you're killing all those, well, you're knocking out everybody, or basically doing the Thanos snap. Like, what is the ethics and thought of that if they're doing that?
One day when they make Marvel Rivals 2 and they want to shut down the servers to Marvel Rivals 1, I think they should play with it in the story, right? Like, oh, they were successful, they went back, and none of this ever happened. Server shut down.
It was all a dream, just like
the
OG Dallas. Well, this is the conceit of every Marvel game, it seems now, right? Or at least like most of the MOBAs, that it's the easy way to get multiverse characters in. Oh, it's all these worlds and they're colliding and they're threatening to destroy each other. I will say this is a refreshing original take on it, though, because most of the time, especially all the mobile games like Future Fight, Future Revolution, I forget the story behind Puzzle Quest, but a lot of them are just like the convergence, and that is what you're trying to prevent. But this has a lot better story, in my opinion.
I'm surprised how much effort they're putting into the story, right? They don't need to do it.
No.
But
they're trying to give it that longevity, I feel.
Marvel storytellers
too,
right?
Yeah.
These all come from stories. They're not a game action company. There's storytelling.
Very much so.
And I mean, dude, look at the Overwatch community. How excited do they get when a new animated short comes out or a new Overwatch comic comes out? I mean, there are people who just are into the lore of Overwatch. Like, that's just a whole sect of the community. And I mean, here, you layer in just the Marvel IP on top of, like, hey, we're trying to put a story for these characters. There's just so much there, and that they could do. And the one thing that, don't forget, is we had this in the alpha and the beta, was the little pass that they gave us. Every, what was it, 5 levels or 10 levels, you unlocked like an audio clip from Galactica.
Little lore dumps.
Now it was, I don't want to say kind of like little cheeky little things that she was saying, but it could get to the
very
point.
Cheeky.
It could get to the point where you have serious story content in there. Like, if the whole season is about, one of these chronoverses getting destroyed or the creation of a new chronoverse, and you have, somebody sending you a signal telling you of these new heroes, teasing heroes that may come in the next season when that Chronoverse opens up. I think that could be great because then that keeps the community engaged and the story just continues on.
What I love in the Jedi Survivor games is how they pepper in those Force echoes for Cal Kestis to interact with.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you get little bits of story that are they super informative to the overarching plot? No, but they give such flavor and character to the world that you're on. And whether they did that to like original maps here or whether that was, like you were saying, Mark, underscoring the severity of what is taking place because of the quantum entanglement or whatever, science words, what's going on. I think that would be really cool. Maybe that's the only way you meet specific characters is through, like their world is no more.
Right.
Ooh.
And all that's left behind is this recording, or, they were able to shoot this off to Wakanda, and on the battle pass every 5 levels, along with, a cosmetic, you're unlocking this audio recording, which is like the best of both worlds between those of us who love those one-player story games, but also like the interaction of this.
Right. And I think that's a great way, like, you think of a game like Overwatch. There's always been, like, just a character I can think of, like Maga. Maga's kind of been teased for a while before he was ever introduced, ever even shown, just like little pieces around maps. A great way to do that is exactly those, like, broadcasts coming through. So we're suddenly hearing the Human Torch, let's say Johnny Storm, coming through, and then it's like, okay, well, we know at some point he's probably going to be a character. And then when he finally shows up, the community is all excited and everybody's just ready. I think that's a great way to tease upcoming heroes for the community.
I think putting it in game as well would be good, like for the starting areas. You're waiting for your game to start. You can explore that opening room, or like maybe play some of the voice lines of the characters talking to each other. Maybe it can be related to where the story is with opening voice lines. But I liked how they did. Was it Juno in Overwatch? They had her ship land at the beginning of the thing. You're like, oh, what's this? Who is this? Oh, there's some pictures here. And I think that's just a way to make if you picked your character quickly and you're waiting in the area, you get to do a little exploring while you're waiting for that countdown.
Yeah. So go check the video out. If you haven't seen it yet, this IGN First video is awesome. So big thanks to the folks over at IGN for putting that together. They also did put an article out. We'll kind of go through this one kind of briefly here. This was a article about the environmental destruction and the hero synergy. So this was actually conducted by IGN China. They did an interview, and this has all been translated over into English. And they kind of, want to, I guess, go in depth on what differentiates Marvel Rivals from some of the other games out there. And the two big things, of course, that everybody looks at is that environmental destruction and the fact that there are the team-ups between the heroes. Just overall, what do you guys think of this? I mean, I'm glad the interviewer did go kind of in depth on some of this. I mean, he even brings up the idea of like, essentially, and this isn't exactly how he says it, but like, hey, it's great you have this environmental destruction, but is it going to get old after a while? Like people know where it is. Are things just going to kind of play out the same? And, they kind of go in and say, well, yeah, but we really think that's going to make just the decisions in fights relevant to players, even though you may know that this area always gets destroyed or whatever it is, you still have that option. And depending on the heroes you're playing, I think they mentioned like Spider-Man in that. There's one, I think the Tokyo map, where you destroy like a gateway or a archway, but like still a piece of it falls down, but it hangs and kind of bobs and bounces on the webs up there. It doesn't just totally destroy and open it up completely. So there are ways to have this destruction, but not just literally totally decimating the map. What are your guys' thoughts? I mean, I know we've talked a little bit about the environmental destruction, but kind of hearing, was it Ji Young, I think was the developer, hearing him talk about it here. Do you think it's really going to be like a selling point for this game, or is it just kind of still going to be a niche thing that it has?
I think it's a nice addition. Where I got interested in was that buildings have hit points, right? So it's harder to take down a tower than like a little wall piece. And then heroes' abilities are going to do different amounts of hit points to buildings versus hit points to other heroes, right? So maybe on a map where it's very like closed in, you want to the meta pick is pick Hulk so you can smash open the walls quickly, rather than a hero that's actually good in the combat. So I think that's pretty neat, and having the verticality in this game too. I feel like that's kind of another thing that sets this apart from some other games. I'm gonna definitely need to get used to it. I've heard some people just say, people something about this game's people don't look up, right? So the characters that are flying, they can just hang up out there, like they're not going to be focused because people don't see them as they're traversing along the ground, right? So you have the flying characters and the crawling characters, and if you're a crawling character and you can't get up in the sniper tower or whatever, that's going to be kind of even out the playing field a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I was ignored as Storm so much, right. And I would just lightning bolt, and then swoop down, so I could get a little bit more power behind my attacks and fry people. But yeah, that's 100% the verticality of it. I'm interested to see how it is incorporated into the meta of the season. So whether or not people start like taking notes and breaking it down as like, okay, guys, when we're in Ixgard and we're, on the push path, into that, like going around that first corner, when we destroy the bridge, we have like 8 seconds or we have 30 seconds until it rebuilds. So like if Spider-Man, if you can set it up for about 20 seconds, swing up there, there'll be nothing. But if you can time it right, then you can land right up there and then, launch yourself again.
Hold your alts for once this is destroyed kind of thing. As soon as this comes down, we alt.
That would definitely be some meta, I think, right there, dude. Because I'll be honest, like I guess we're going to play this game enough. You're eventually going to kind of get that timing right, I guess, or kind of know when things are coming up. But at no point was I ever like, okay, it's going to be built again. Like I would visually see it because you could kind of see when those pieces were coming up, and never was it like, all right, I know in 20 seconds it's going to be there. But I can almost guarantee you, pros are going to have that down to a science. I mean,
because you're tracking a cooldown.
I mean, literally, yeah. And I love Ji-Young. He mentions like it was one of the first things they thought of when they created the game was like, you're playing superheroes. Like, yeah, you should be able to when the Hulk is leaping like and smashing through something, he should be smashing through something and not just like hitting a wall and just going boop and just falling down. Like that's not how this works. So I think that's great. And certain abilities. I mean, you mentioned with the hit points, certain abilities do more damage. So it's like Moon Knight's Crescent Dart doesn't do as much as Hulk Smash. It is going to be different. So I think that's kind of cool that they're taking all that into account. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think of the team ups? Kind of the conversation about that, and this idea that they're trying to make it a point where it's not always just 2 heroes. They're trying to make it where there's usually going to be at least 3 that can take advantage of it. So gives you a little bit more options to pick. But then also, if someone does not take like the corresponding hero, you still get what are they calling it? I'm trying to scroll through.
A passive bonus or something.
It's basically a passive bonus. It's called the. Let's see, the dynamic team ups. It's a word basically, and the one he gives is like Hela and Thor, and that even if you just pick Hela, she's still going to get a little bit of a buff just because of somebody not picking Synergy. Thor. And that's the season that's the team up that's happening within that season.
I think it goes back to what we talked about, the role queue, right? And when you have those heroes, like 3 duelists that have a team up all together, that allows you to pick those heroes to try out like a 3-way team up on, maximizing that character selection and getting those bonuses as you want. So maybe that's a thing why they're not putting those role queues in right now. 1, because it's a new game they want to see, but 2, they don't want to stop people from going hard on the team ups.
Yeah. They do mention too that they're trying to keep things kind of in line with what makes sense meaning, when you have Rocket and Groot is the one that obviously comes to mind that everybody thinks of, or Venom with, Penny and Peter. Like, yeah, of course the symbiote's going to get on them because they're spider characters. But then also they're going to be looking at even just some other things. And one that kind of sticks out to me that I don't want to say didn't make sense, but kind of surprised me in the alpha and the beta was the Rocket Punisher one. It just was kind of just weird. And then when I thought about it, I was like,
Ammo.
that does kind of make sense.
Gun.
Like it just makes sense, right?
Gun team, go.
So I think that's, and I think that actually works with Bucky as well. So Rocket Winter Soldier is a team up as well, which is cool. I think it works better with Punisher because he's locking down with his turret, and I think it would work better there. I don't think Bucky has an ability where he's locking down like that. But still, to have unlimited Winter Soldier, I think it's almost like more of a shotgun. I think the way his weapon works. But just be able to blast that off constantly, maybe have a rocket kind of right there with you.
I'm just excited for when we eventually get the Iron Man Jeff team up, and we get the Jeff Buster armor, and he's being carried around by a little drone, just like like a fat little pug, and he's just
I think I have a video of
Jeff
myself
Buster all the
doing
way.
the Jeff Buster, and it's me as Hulk grabbing Jeff and just smashing his head into the ground like 5 times and tossing him and then punching him, and he KOs.
That's not a great team up, though, eh?
Gosh,
Hulk doesn't need a team up.
It's a opposite team up.
Well, we never talked about that. Like, I think we actually did. Now that I think back to it, to our old chat with the Alpha, but I would love to see them do the opposite of team ups, the arch enemies or whatever you want to call it. So you're counter playing, and it's giving you a buff. Like, I think just think of what's in the game. A Venom Spider-Man. So like somebody's playing Venom, somebody's playing Spider-Man. Even if it gives both of them the buff, whatever that is, like it's a way to counterplay and give you a boost. I think would be kind of cool. And I don't know what
I could see that as a
enemies
mode, or like Nemesis mode or something like that.
There you go, Nemesis. Yeah,
like that.
I think that'd be kind of neat. But again, then that would force people to, I guess, to maximize their potential in a match. Kind of force people to make picks. And I think that's the one thing, and that's the reason why they give for no roll queue, is that they want people to just play who you want to play. Like, they don't want to force you to fall into a meta that has to be there, which also is, I guess, the argument of adding more and more heroes. The more heroes you add, the more option for just, fun, unique gameplay, unique team ups, unique everything, where if you just have static amount of teams. I mean, I hate to say it, but right now, go watch the competitive Overwatch. A lot of times it's just the same team comps. It's the same thing over and over, and the matches come down to just who makes the mistake and which team just has the better players. It has nothing to do with the team composition. And I think they're really trying to avoid that, and they want to make sure that people you're going to, every time you watch a tournament or you go into a match, it's going to be different every time, and you're going to have just these fun mixes of teams, which I think would add legs to the game and keeps it kind of going forward. So go check that article out. I'm gonna have links to both of them. Or did you have something else you want to say, Matt?
It just feels like they're really empowering players to essentially like write their own Marvel story. It's like Marvel is the world outside your window. Like, here, Marvel is like the game in your hands. Marvel is on your screen. Like, do what you want with it.
Yeah. So I will have links to both the Wakanda map and the article that IGN put out over on IGN. So find those in the show notes. So big thanks again to IGN for putting those out. And of course, they're doing this all month. So through the whole month of November, there will be these IGN first videos. So keep an eye over on IGN and check out what they're showing. Now, we also had the reveal this week via Marvel Games over on Twitter that they are doing a Chronoverse collaboration. And it says the Marvel Rivals Chronoverse collaboration is coming soon. Stay tuned for details. We got a nice image of Galactica, and it looks like we're going to get some collaboration with Marvel Snap, Marvel Puzzle Quest, Marvel Future Fight, and Fortnite. No official details on what these are going to be, but I think, we could all assume, of course, Marvel Snap, we're probably going to get cards with a different character art from Rivals. Puzzle Quest, probably a similar thing. I mean, I have seen things, but again, this is not official confirmation. This is people just kind of posting teasers and things out there.
What is Puzzle Quest?
It's a match 3 game.
Jeweled?
Yeah. Yeah, there was there is just Puzzle Quest was a game that came out, and then now there's a lot of branded, and you literally have like it'll be like you're fighting another character. You both have hit points, and as you're matching the gems, you're doing damage to the other person, and you actually like build up, I guess, stamina or magic, whatever you want to say, to unleash abilities to hit them harder. So like, make sure you're going for those yellow gems, because if you get enough yellow gem energy, bam, you can blast off Iron Man's repulsors or whatever. So it's cool. That game is definitely a fun game. But as a Marvel Snap player, I'm pretty excited for this. I do want to see what's going to be coming. And of course, Fortnite. I mean, essentially the whole last season, Fortnite was a Marvel game. So I'm interested to see what those skins are going to look like. I think the rival skins will look fantastic in Fortnite.
I think they're going to pick after doing all of the Marvel stuff they just did. Shout out to my Cyclops skin carrying Grogu on his back with the Batman glider. Like, what a time to be alive, you know? I think they're gonna have to pick like the big bombastic skins, and I think we're gonna get like something Galactica, and then maybe one of those big Doctor Strange skins or one of the big Venom skins. Like, they want things that'll stand out, that will drive people from Fortnite, another shooter, to this other competitive
I know.
shooter.
Isn't that the weird like line? That's what I'm kind of like. I get it. It's essentially advertising, right, for rivals, but it's kind of a weird. Although they
play differently.
They do play differently, and I mean there is the big Disney investment in Epic Games and the big push for what they're doing. So in the end, I mean, it all kind of serves the same financial purpose, I guess is the right way to say it. But the bottom line is it's all going kind of to the same place. But I think you're going to find people, especially with Rivals being free, you're going to find people going to check it out. You're going to have players who maybe, people who've always played Fortnite. I think of like, my son, a kid who, kind of, I don't want to say grew up on Fortnite, but like was there from day one with Fortnite and continues to play it. May say, oh, let me check out this Rivals game. Oh, it's free? Like, yeah, I'll give it a download and I'll check it out. And then who knows? Maybe that's a player that sticks with the game. And I'm sure there's other people like that out there.
That's a good point. All of these are free to play games, right? So I guess the science is you've played one, so you're more likely to play another. Yep. I wonder if they'll do any of that with a paid game and see. Like, I want to see a Fortnite launch party for this game.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Like they have the live events.
Yeah, or like the first official tournament, like have a watch party in Fortnite. Would be sweet. Things like that.
Integration for viewing. Yeah,
that'd be neat.
Do it.
All right, well, let's move on here. We also had, as we talked about, the road to launch continues here. So we had a lot of new skins and things revealed. So we're going to kind of zip through some of these here because I don't want the show to go too long. But the first one we had was the Supreme Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme of the Galaxy.
Oh, my gosh.
And this one I saw, and I could like hear Matt like shoving his credit card into the screen of his phone, like trying to buy it, like punching things. Like,
I want it.
Where do I input my information? Guan, dude, hook me up. Like, come on.
Matt's going as soon as we're done recording to FedEx or UPS to just mail his credit card directly to Guan. Like, it is happening.
I am a Doctor Strange main, period. If I can play Doctor Strange, I will play Doctor Strange. Future Revolution, he's who I played.
Marvel Champions,
the collaborative card game. He's my deck of choice. I don't know. I love the character and the design, and this look pulled from the comics is just so sick. I got to become a better Doctor Strange player. I got to be a better Vanguard. My Vanguard season about to start.
My issue was Strange and it's not even an issue. Like, I enjoyed playing him. I actually didn't really touch him much in the alpha, but in the beta, I played him a little bit more. The whole portal thing, it's a fantastic addition, and I'm glad they did it. I just never used it. Like, it was just the one ability I just didn't use. And so that's where, for me to get better with Strange, I want to work on that. Like, when should I be using that more? Like, that's what I'm kind of looking forward to. Because I love him having the shield, put up the barrier. Like, that's great. I like playing a tank and having that ability to to be there. But yeah, dude, this skin is they cooked on this one. It's great.
I couldn't play him too much during the alpha because my gaming laptop has the horsepower of about like a brown lunch bag. So when he would use the portal, it started to sound like a 747.
Your gaming laptop melted through a portal in the ground.
Oh no. So we'll see what happens on console when this game kicks off.
It's funny.
I like the Goro thing. He's got 6 arms going on, and you'd mentioned this scalpel of Strange, something that cuts open what dimension?
The multiverse.
Multiverse.
Very cool.
Yeah, it fits very well with the story we're getting here. It seems.
The next skin we got, of course, was Jeff the Land Shark's Incognito Dolphin.
Yes.
And he's wearing this little fuzzy dolphin outfit. And what do you guys think of this one, man? It's pretty cute, I gotta say. I like it.
You know that Carol Burnett sketch where it's like the Gone with the Wind sketch, and she makes the dress out of the drapes. It makes me think that Jeff needed a Halloween costume, so he stole the fuzzy bath mat. And Galactica, like sewed it for him, and he's like, costume, go.
Oh, that's funny.
That's his voice canonically now. But I also see myself buying this. I am in the lost episode you didn't hear. I'm pretty much a Jeff shill now. So
you're Jeff Stan.
Jeff Stan.
I think it looks more like he murdered a Care Bear and like skinned it and put it on because there's a little star on the side, and so
he knocked out a Care Bear.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe.
And borrowed its hide.
Incognito Dolphin.
That's
awesome.
So yeah, that's a great skin.
Pink is incognito.
Yeah, he's the brightest, most obvious thing on any of the maps that we have in the game. He's going to stand out so much. And I hope that's the theme of Jeff. Like, it's just all those Infinity comics are just great.
I love how they're putting this into the game and having more lighthearted, humorous side to it. I think that's great. Someone's going to get something out of that, and then, oh no, but Doctor Doom has ruined the time stream, so let's get a bit more serious here.
Guys, we need the dog shark with the human name. Quick, call him up. He can help us save the Chronoverse.
Let's see. We also had the reveal of the Mantis Guardians 3 skin. Marvel's Guardians Studios. Of the Galaxy Volume 3 skin. So this, kind of continues the tradition. And on top of this, I'm going to kind of layer in too. We had not only this Mantin Marvel Studios Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but we also had a Adam Warlock Marvel Studios Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 skin. And, he mentioned, Guan mentioned in the roadmap, it seems like this is going to be probably one of those skin packs. Whether it's
so good.
Whether it's going to be within the Battle Pass or just a straight up skin pack, which gets me excited for things that we may get down the line. Like one that I thought of, and now we don't have a lot of the heroes in there, but imagine like a X-Men 1 skin pack, and you have like Storm.
Like the movie, or
I'm talking movie, or I guess you
like
could do the animated series.
Fox.
I'm talking Fox, like those suits, and you get like
black leather.
Oh yeah,
yes, would be sweet. There's all these different teams that had these uniforms, or if you want to say, or I mean, who knows? Maybe we get some Fantastic Four characters, and you get like from some of those movies or animated shows. There's a lot they could do here. So both these skins, are right in line, kind of that like blue red. And then this Mantis, to me, does her face look different in this one? Like she looks very, I don't know.
She's got almost like anime eyes.
Yeah. Which I guess the character does. I'm looking at kind of her little, the tweet they put out every day at like right at 7 p.m. They put out a tweet kind of showing the character and their little animation intro, and then they put the skin out about 5 minutes later. So I guess it is the same face. It just for some reason it stands out more to me here.
Yeah.
But I think she looks
really.
great.
The art, and we kind of talked about before what the skins in Fortnite are going to look like. This looks like it could go drop right in Fortnite and not miss a beat, right? Like I think their animation styles are a bit similar when you look at these skins here.
Do you remember? Was this? And this is. I mean, we should probably know this. Is this built on Unreal 5? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
I have no idea.
I can't remember if we saw the splash screen of that. Yeah, you can look that up, Neil, if you want. But I mean, that would make sense. I mean, the art style definitely fits right into Fortnite, kind of the cell shaded cartoon type look. But I mean, if it's Unreal 5, then yeah, it's just a given. This thing will just run.
Well, they're not
Easy.
saying that these are platform specific skins, so maybe some of these reveals are like, oh, and by the way, this, that, and that are debuting directly in Fortnite at, whatever.
I would say maybe, but I mean, there's definitely in all these Marvel Rivals right up in the corner. This is definitely coming to Marvel Rivals, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is on Unreal 5.
It is, okay. So yeah,
So they moved Fortnite over there too?
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. I want to say, I don't know if it's been a year, but yeah, that was a big deal.
I guess they make it, so it makes sense.
Yep.
It's been a while.
I mean, that's what's funny with Epic. It was always like Gears of War was the big showpiece. Like, this is Unreal 2, or Unreal 3. Like, that was a showpiece. They were trying to show what the engine can do. And now it's literally Fortnite. Like, this is what our engine can do. And it's like, I mean, obviously the game runs great when you're running it.
100 players at once.
Yep. Destruction all over.
Awesome.
One more skin, too, we did get this week, and this was a Black Panther skin. This is Bass Chosen. This skin looks awesome. I don't play Black Panther enough, so I wouldn't see myself dropping cash on it. Yeah, yet. But I do want to see this skin in motion, because watching that IGN First video and just how cool Black Panther looked walking through there, I could imagine this with the fur and everything. The boots with the fur would look awesome. walking through there.
It's too early for this, Mark. It's too early for this. Yeah,
I got
the whole
my
club
Bass
was
Chosen
definitely looking at
skin,
him,
boots
like,
with the fur.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just think of like what is it? Like a victory screen, or like a character intro, and the character just like spinning around and seeing the movement of all of it, or even just like flipping around in the air.
Similar to what they do with that video that they drop a few minutes before, right? Like have that, but why not have it in the skin? Because as we saw in the roadmap video, we got to see that Iron Man skin we talked about last week in action. I'm like, ooh, yes, this looks great. And I think with this character as well, this could be another one of your skin packs. Go with all the year one Avengers or whatever, right? With the old Thor,
the prehistoric,
Thor. Yeah, the prehistoric. Get once you have Ghost Rider in there on the Mammoth, I think that's a good, and maybe open up another time stream.
Yeah,
right, prehistoric.
You know, we forgot to mention, actually. You mentioned we did see the Superior Iron Man skin, but we also got a Spider-Man skin in there.
Right.
What do they call him? The Amazing Bagman? Is that what he's called?
Or Bombastic Bagman.
There you go.
It was during the same time. There's like an exciting new costumes, that tell our story, and it's like that. It's like,
I thought it was great. Like, honestly, I like that skin better than the one we had in the alpha and beta, the Spider-Punk. Like, I don't know what it is about that skin.
What?
Like, dude, it's cool, but I just like...
Hate on my boy Hobie?
Give me the bag, man. I'll take it. It's great.
You're not always going to have your suit with you. You got to be resourceful.
Yeah. But yeah, so lots of skins coming obviously to the game, and the countdown continues. So every day we will be getting more and more of these. So that's going to do it here for the news, guys. Let's move on to our lore segment that we call the Cerebro Files. All right. Well, this week we are talking about Moon Knight. So with Moon Knight getting the reveal here this week, we thought it might be fitting to have Moon Knight maybe be shown here and get some love here on the podcast. So, man, I'm going to kick it over to you. Do you want to take it off here and fill us in a little bit on some Moon Knight?
Yeah, sure. So I guess what is everybody's experience with Moon Knight? What do you know going into this?
I'm very limited. Honestly,
Okay.
I didn't really know who he was until the show came out, and I've watched a few episodes of that show. And I'm like, okay, very cool. And we talked about the gameplay of him last week, but I guess he's kind of like Marvel's Batman a little bit.
Más o menos, yeah. He's got that vibe going on. What about
I'm
you, Mark?
interested. And it got me interested that I cracked open one of his comics yesterday. I started reading. It was like 2016 run or something like that.
Okay.
And it started off with Mark Spector in a psychiatric hospital, and everybody there saying like, no, you've been here since you were 12. There is no Moon Knight there. Well, there is a Moon Knight, but it's not you, and you've been making this up. And you just kind of get that sense of what,
Gaslighting.
everything I know is real, or what's going on here. So I'm excited to dive more into that for sure.
That is a big theme of Moon Knight throughout his nearly 50-year history. What about you,
Yeah,
Mark?
I think for me, Moon Knight, my first exposure to him was when I started collecting comics. It was when the Marvel collectible cards came out, the Series 1. So that was probably like, what, 91? I'm dating myself here.
1900s?
The 1900s, man. Yeah. But I saw him and I was like, man, that character is so cool. And I was big into the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider at that point. That was the book because, as a young kid, I was just like, Ghost Rider is so cool. His head's on fire. He's a skeleton. And there was an issue that he was in, but I never really followed Moon Knight. I mean, he was always just one of those kind of ancillary characters that I would see. You go to the comic shop, but I was always either buying the X-Men run that was coming out at that time that Claremont was coming back for, or because X-Men was huge in the 90s, or the Ghost Rider book. So it wasn't until later on that I really kind of started learning about the character, but I never really kept up with any of his series. And I mean, I kind of hate to admit it, but probably my most in-depth experience with him is probably really the MCU show outside of, and I know you're probably going to talk about it, but like the Age of Khonshu event that happened in the 2018 Avengers series. So that was a whole run. I mean, he was in there, but that was about it. I never really read Moon Knight. So I guess that's kind of my experience. He's a character that looks incredible. I mean, I love the art style. I love him and everything, but I've never kept up with his books.
Yeah, and I feel like he's one of those Marvel characters that in Marvel Comics that if you know him and like him, like you're a diehard fan. I feel like to an extent he's kind of like a deep cut for some people.
Definitely.
Because he's that mix between street level hero but gods and mysticism and supernatural and all of that thrown into one. So yeah, he debuted back in 1975 actually in Werewolf by Night. If you're not familiar with that book, which is come off and on in publication throughout the years, there was a special inspired by it on Disney Plus a couple years ago, which was great.
Really good.
Sorry, I had to cough. Yeah, his the volumes and runs have been pretty short throughout the years, or at least in recent years. The books don't go on too long because he has this knack for dying. So to kind of throw it back to the beginning of Moon Knight, we've got Mark Spector, who is, I guess, not Moon Knight Prime, but like he's our anchor character in this book. And Mark Spector is a Marine and a CIA operative before becoming a mercenary for hire and kind of like a gun for hire. And on this one adventure he's on, things go bad, and this archaeologist ends up getting killed. Mark Spector steps into, kind of has this not come to Jesus moment, but just like, maybe I should step in and do something here. We're being unnecessary with this unnecessary roughness, and steps in to kind of like stop some more people from getting killed, left on death's door basically himself. He reaches out, pulls himself to this tomb that was unearthed by the archaeologist who was killed, and basically as he's dying is imbued with the power of Khonshu, the Egyptian moon god. He dies, but then is immediately revived, fully healed, and has been given this divine mission from Khonshu to be the moon's knight, to be the left Fist of Khonshu, basically redeem himself through serving Khonshu for all the bad things that he did throughout his life. But the more and more he goes on, the more identities start to pop up. And so that's also been a controversial topic within this book of mental health. At times, in the past, it's not been treated very well in comics due to kind of ignorance in some part, but also the evolution of diagnoses and things like that. But Moon Knight has dissociative identity disorder, and I wish we had Ken's here, who's in the mental health field, to he could talk us through a little bit of it. But the comics is not always the best representation. But Mark Spector has these different identities that help him process things that are going on in his life. One being Stephen Grant, who is a billionaire. One being Jake Lockley, a more rough 'em up brawler, taxi cab driver. And then there's even Mr. Knight, who is a little Sherlock Holmesy, fancy in his dress. When you guys were on the podcast and you talked about, he looks like he's in like part of a tux or whatever. That's him. And he's a police consultant. Wow. And so throughout the years, he assumes each of these different identities, alter egos, if you will, which is no stranger to the superhero field. But it's been treated differently throughout the years, whether or not this is conflicting mental health diagnoses, or whether this is the power of Khonshu having been present in his life from early on, like as a kid, and whether he was chosen really earlier in life to serve this role. So that's the big background. I guess my biggest experience with the character is what you said, Mark, the Age of Khonshu arc in the Jason Aaron Avengers run, which was fantastic.
Yep.
Khonshu itself, I don't know whatever your belief about gods are, begins to have these premonitions of doom and disaster, which we find out is the influence of Mephisto. But as such, he basically goes into doomsday prepper state and commands Moon Knight that he needs to collect these archetypal powers of heroes that have been around since the beginning of time, basically the prehistoric Avengers, if you will, which was a great tie-in to the book. And so you have Thor and the Odin Force, the Phoenix Force, the Black Panther, the Ghost Rider, Sorcerer Supreme, the Starbrand. I think there might be one more, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. But basically, Moon Knight is supposed to go around, steal their powers, enclose them in these ankhs, and bring them back to Khonshu so that Khonshu has the power and wherewithal to fight this oncoming threat. The Avengers are basically able to be like, yo, Moon Knight, repeat that back to me, run it back. Like, how does that sound to you? And he's like, oh yeah, you're right. This is a little crazy. And so, spoiler alert, they're able to eventually save the world and,
Hooray.
stop,
Hello.
Khonshu from completely losing it. But with this great scene, and if you can look it up, Moon Knight becoming the avatar for the Phoenix Force. I'm a sucker for it when anybody becomes, an avatar of the Phoenix Force, like all day. Let everybody do it. But yeah, that's my most recent exposure to him. His book right now, I believe, The Fist of Khonshu. I forgot to open that in front of me. It's a newer book. Up until just, I believe, issue 1 dropped in October. Up until the summer, Moon Knight was dead. He got killed in his last book. He sacrificed himself in this epic panel where Mark Spector, like, all the identities reach out and basically press the button to destroy this thing,
Sweet.
this big panel. And think about how that would translate like cinematically, beautifully. But now he kind of runs this ragtag team of kind of supernatural heroes called the Midnight Mission. Oh gosh, and my notes closed in front of me. But yeah, it's like him and a few other street level people. Tigra, who's been in the Avengers. They live inside a sentient house, which is an alien from another dimension, as their base of operations. And he continues his mission, basically helping the travelers of the night, which includes, the supernatural, the downtrodden, it envelops a few different communities. But yeah, still going on, and excited to see where his future goes. It's definitely got me interested in definitely the more recent iterations of the character, because he is very much a brawler and he doesn't have crazy superpowers. He's enhanced strength, enhanced agility, flexibility, things like that. But he's not, let me crash the moon into the earth. Here,
Right,
let me send my moon ray through you. Moon power, He's not that guy.
But he does have that ultimate ability where he brings down fists of Khonshu. So,
he can call him Khonshu whatever yet.
This iteration of Moon Knight, who has been pulled from the multiverse, which remains to be seen if this is Mark Spector or
True.
Who knows?
Maybe another interesting.
Just hearing you talk about this character, and especially that last run with him, kind of with all the identities pushing that button. I think I might be reading some Moon Knight this weekend. Because that run sounds like that would be pretty sweet, just to see what's that build up to get to that point where he's sacrificing himself. And you know how I'm going to do it? I'm going to do it on my Marvel Unlimited app, because Marvel Unlimited is a great way to
please sponsor us
to catch up. Or I always say your local library. Go to your local library. They have tons of books there. You can always find it, and even digitally, you can usually take them out too.
It's great, dark and gritty art. Like if you like any of the recent Batman work with
I've just got
Jimenez. Fantastic art.
I got the recent comics opened up here, and like all of these covers are bangers. They're all great.
Yeah. It's I people sleep on Moon Knight, I feel, myself included.
Yeah. Awesome. So definitely looking forward to playing this character. I mean, just as you were going through it, we have one of the matches that they released of this character, and I think I said it on the last episode, but I cannot wait to play Moon Knight. I think like when I fire up Rivals on day one, I think I'm going to be checking out Cap for my first match, because I just want to see Cap. I want to see how that plays. And then number two will be right into playing Moon Knight. He just looks like he's so much fun to play.
Oh my gosh. He looks so scary to go up against.
He might just be my duelist of choice. Just looking at it, like from all the other duelists I played, he might be my go-to. We'll see. All right. So who are we doing next week? What do you guys want to chat about on the show next week?
Ooh. Maybe we should do one of the lesser known characters, like that are newer.
Like a Jeff breakdown?
Twist my arm. I mean, I was gonna say like we could do Jeff or Luna Snow or someone like that, but
let's do Jeff next week. I think it's Jeff. It's Jeff.
It's Jeff.
Yeah, that's what we'll be doing. So we'll be talking some Jeff lore next week. So be sure to get out there and learn all you can about Jeff, and maybe if you
Jeff's assemble.
Send some emails with recommended storylines that.
And fun ways to KO Jeff in the game. We can send those over to rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com.
Ring, 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 ring. Oh, that's a studio phone. Let me pick it up real quick. Oh, PETA? Yeah, BRB. Let's end the pod and then we can talk.
Oh, that's funny. All right, well, let's move on here to our email segment that we call What Ifs. All right. Well, don't forget, you can always email us at rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com. Or, of course, hit us up over on Twitter at rivalsassemble. We got an email this week from Big Damage 89. And he says, with the upcoming Chronoverse collaboration, what other collabs would you want to see outside of the games, such as TV, movie, snacks, etc.? So, I mean, the one that comes to mind for me is like the classic Call of Duty. You have like Doritos and Mountain Dew. Like they always have the, double XP or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Is there anything that you think that Rivals you would want? Not that you think that they will, but if you, in a perfect world, a collab, what would you think it would be?
Well, we talked about it last week. They are doing the comics, right, with the alternate art.
The comic
covers.
covers,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Yes. So I think that would be that's a great one. And whether within those comics you get a code for skins or something in the game
Oh, that
too.
would be great. They got to do something like that where you getting skins.
Yeah.
Or go ahead, Matt.
No, well, I think this game is the perfect thing to continue Marvel Gamerverse comics, which if you're not familiar, the imprint was started for Marvel Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man 2, and they continued on like the DLC. There was The City That Never Sleeps. There was a book. They even just based some on different skins that he had. They're like, well, let's make this story. So there was Spider-Man Velocity. There was the Black Cat Strikes. Other books with great art, short runs, 4 to 5 issues, just quick little side stories from the game. And so I think this would be perfect to give us background on like the Web of Destiny, or some of these characters introduced. Even if there's like a Galactica book, it could be serious, or it could be like Galactica's Day Off. Just a fun little thing.
I
Yeah,
think that's a great idea. I did read some of those books too. They had one for, I think, the Marvel's Avengers game. Like they
Yeah,
had
they did, yeah.
tie-ins for each character or something like
Yeah.
that. And I read them. Midnight Suns, I believe, as well. And it's kind of just like a setup for the
Mhm.
game and that team that's together. And this is a great idea. And it especially like set up that season 0, have one come out each season as the setup to the
Oh,
season
that'd
and
be
what's going
Yeah, that would
on,
be
and
sweet.
maybe
with the code to get like a discount on the battle pass.
Ooh,
Please.
yes, love me some discounts.
5% off.
I think, Neil, you mentioned it in our Lost episode about buying. Well, when you look at these skins that we've been given so far, it tells you where it comes from in the comics. That it would be really neat if a skin purchase gives you access to that comic, either within the game itself or maybe some sort of code to put into Marvel Unlimited or a Marvel app. Like that would be neat. So then players are able to get some sort of reference. And then that, of course, then just boosts players to go read the comics that maybe haven't before. I think that would be awesome.
The aliens listening to this have no context when they're like, skin purchase, gross. What? I would like
That's
a
how
Rivals-
Jeff got his dolphin skin. He just purchased
I would
it.
like a Rivals energy drink. I would like Rival-O's, the Rivals marshmallow morning cereal. But I would also like to see a presence at conventions. I've become a big convention person, especially at like gaming conventions. So went to DreamHack just a few weeks ago here in Atlanta, and you see a big presence from some of these games having like activations and experiences, like the Call of Duty games and stuff like that. But give me just like a big Marvel presence, like give me a big push. You've got the money, whether it's like exclusive events or in-person stuff where you can come and tour Shuri's room, or you can come and tour, like
actual
just like
sets, you're saying.
Yeah, give me like just a cool set. Come and see Penny Parker's mech that's going to be here, and take a picture with it, stuff like that.
I believe Disney has done that before, and it came to my city, and it was like Disney in-person experience or whatever, and you go see.
Yeah,
We had that. The
pieces or
props,
whatever.
we had the MCU props kind of came through and did like
cool.
a Marvel thing.
and DC does that all the time with like the Batmobile. They'll be like, hey, we're going on usually around Batman Day in like June, I believe it is, or July. They're just like, hey, Batmobile's going around the country again, come see it.
Yeah, I mean that would be cool, man. I mean they are already at D23. Was it Gamescom that they were at as well? So they are doing some at least events, and of course that's the big marketing push for the game and kind of revealing all this stuff. But I hope that just continues. And honestly, if this game takes off as the way we're kind of assuming it is, I definitely see them doing that, like going to PAX, going to even like Dragon Con, or things like that, just like having a presence there and just pushing everything about this game, and then doing the convention tournaments and stuff like that, because that really to me is what I'm really interested in seeing, how the competitive scene is gonna, I guess, grow in this. Like, how much is NetEase and the team behind the game going to push it, or how much of it is going to be like a grassroots push? I mean, we haven't really heard. I mean, well, I say we haven't heard, but I mean, literally, with both the closed alpha with limited amount of people, they ran tournaments that paid cash out. And during the closed beta, they ran a tournament that paid cash out. So they're already just in an alpha and a beta going with that push. We, as of right now, know nothing about what moving forward, if that's going to be just a consistent thing like every month or what. So I'm really interested to see kind of if they're going to do it themselves, or if they're going to put it out to some of these other competitive companies kind of put it together instead.
I want to see what the balance is like for how they cater to competitive versus all the people playing. I think that's always been an item that can impact the game's development and all that stuff. I think with Overwatch, obviously they had their Overwatch League, and at one point that's gone now, but having that as part of their offering, they need to make sure that that's the best to watch kind of thing. But then you have all these people that aren't at that level yet, and they want to have fun playing the game too. So you got to be careful with what you change there. I believe it's StarCraft 2 right now. I don't know what happened with it, but I did see some chat online about this recent balance patch, and they actually got the pros to give input on what they wanted to see there, since it was like a, not dead game, but they're not actively developing for it. And there were people that just got very upset about there. They're like, this is changing the game completely. Like, not my StarCraft. What are you guys doing?
Wow.
So it's a very sensitive thing on how they want to do it. And however they do it, they're not going to please everybody, but I'm interested to see.
That was a StarCraft 2. There was a huge tournament at DreamHack in 2023. They weren't there this year, and instead it was Call of Duty Mobile.
That's interesting.
That's crazy.
Which, and I sent you guys the screenshots of them just like,
on stage.
Unbelievable.
And I was like, huh?
I mean, dude, the same thing happens with Pokemon Unite. They do it, and they're all on their phones. I mean, I've seen like Arena of Valor, all these like
tricked out phones that like.
I mean, it's wild,
not my
man.
Service plan.
Crazy, and it makes me wonder too. Like, I mean, you're also at the mercy of like your
Wi-Fi.
your Wi-Fi and cell service. Like, you're not. I mean, maybe those phones. I mean, I'm not up to date on the latest phones. Like, is there a way to plug in hardline internet into your phone or tablet? Or
I don't think so, but I'm sure
Wi-Fi?
I'm sure there's a dedicated
I would hope so.
Network specifically for the team.
Yeah.
What about your power cable? Then that's in the way of your hand. It's like, oh, I got to play with my power cable.
You got a callus. Yeah, they got a callus on their hand from where the cord just keeps rubbing.
I think they have them in power packs. So like the case itself is like the battery. I could be wrong. But
this isn't coming to mobile, right?
No, not that we know of at all. And I don't
it
see it.
melted my computer. What do you think it's going to do to my phone, dude? Like, come on.
You got to do what I did, Matt. You got to go buy a new computer, man. I'll give you all the specs of this thing. You can just
let me get right on that.
Buy a beast.
Beefy GP.
All right. Well, again, if you want to be a part of the show here, don't forget you can email us rivalsassemblepod@gmail.com. We love reading your questions here online. And big thanks to Big Damage 89 for sending that.
Big Damage.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for us here. Don't forget you can of course follow us over on X or Twitter at Rivals Assemble, and we will be recording the show live this week, Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/RivalsAssemblePod, and of course you can catch it either over there. I think afterwards the broadcast will still be up there, and I'm highlighting these two so they'll be on Twitch, or over on YouTube, youtube.com/RivalsAssemblePod. All right, boys. So I don't know exactly what we're going to get this week. I mean, we know we're going to keep getting some skin reveals. I'm hoping for a new hero. I mean, with these IGN first reveals happening, I would assume every new hero we're going to get with 6 still left to go, I would assume IGN's going to be the one probably putting up these videos. So maybe within this time frame, we'll get at least 1, potentially 2 by
Captain
then.
Jeff, the Mighty Jeff, Spider
Mighty
Jeff.
Yeah, well,
Spider Jeff.
yeah.
Spider Jeff.
All the new 6 heroes are just Jeff variants. That's all they are. Just Jeff.
The Jeff Corps.
Oh, that's
Pack?
ridiculous.
Jeff Pack.
That would be sweet. Just seriously, I mean, right now we mentioned like with Overwatch Classic, and there's like teams of like 6 Winstons, 6 Junkrats, whatever.
Jeffs.
Just 6 Jeffs.
Yeah.
That'd be great. A team of 6 Jeffs, everyone wearing their own skin with different skin would just be awesome.
I like to wear my own skin.
All right, that's going to do it for us, everybody. On that note, thank you here, as always, for tuning into the show. And until next time, we'll catch you later.